Hey, it's Melissa and welcome back to my channel. So I am really excited to be one of the guest designers for Clique Kits for August. I'm working with the Just a Little Lovely kit, which is based on the collection by Carefree Studio of the same name. So in order to get started, I decided to work with a cut file, and I am a member of the Pink Fresh fans Facebook group, and there are free cut files on there, and I loved this one with all the vines and I thought it went perfectly with my photo, so I decided to work with it. So I've cut it on this paper. On the B side it has a blue print with flowers, and the A side is like a beautiful watercolory orange toned with white and yellow pattern, or not pattern, just I guess it's a pattern. And I thought it went perfectly. I did think about cutting this on green, as there was a paper in the kit that had a similar treatment but with green, but then I decided that because the leaves in the photo are green, that I would be a bit more whimsical and go with this one. So I'm loving how it's looking. You can see there's even some splatters on there as well. And then I got the cut apart sheet, and I'll be honest, it's hard to look at the B side of this paper because it is so absolutely beautiful and would make a perfect background as well. But I love all the cut aparts on the sheet. And this one says happiness blooms from within, which I thought was perfect to document this photo of my 10-year-old daughter Azaria. And we had done a little photo shoot with her and Brielle. Brielle would have been just turned 5 at the time, and it was in April. And here in New Zealand at this time of the year, the leaves are starting to turn and it's autumn and it's really beautiful. And we went out to Arrowtown, which is about 10 minutes from where we live, and I took these photos of the girls. And so the leaves haven't fully turned. You can still see that they're green in the background, but there are some like orange coloured leaves on the grass there. And we just had lots of fun, and the girls were real keen just to pose. They did some silly poses and some more not silly, but still fun poses. And so this photo is probably the nicest one I have of just Azaria on her own. And so I was really keen to scrapbook it. So here are the acetate flowers, and you get a whole lot in the pack. And at this stage I didn't know too much about what I was going to be doing with this layout, just that I was using the cut file. So I just started to play. I pulled out the ephemera as well. There are some florals in there that are black and white with a bit of colour. You can see 2 of them at the top there. There's lots of phrases, some frames, words, all sorts of goodies. So I just went through, and I've left this in so you can see my process. I guess it's like my thought process. And the frames have pieces inside, and so I just popped out a little floral there. And I trim little edges where they overhang. Some collections like this one will have that, especially where you have to pop something else out, so I just trim them off, it's no big deal. And then I just went through, and anything that I thought was going to work, I put it down. So here I've got another frame, and I thought that would work as well. It is getting a bit lost there on that paper, but I'll remedy that soon and put it to use. And so just going through, trying to work out what's going to work for me. I did think about using that little I can't remember what it says, but little banner or tag with some words on it. So I decided to make a sequin pocket or shaker pocket with this little frame, and so I've just got some packaging. The packaging isn't from this collection or this kit because I like to put my bits and pieces back in the packaging when I'm working with a kit, but any packaging would do, even a thickest packet. And so I've just glued it on there, and then later on, once it's a bit more dry, I will machine stitch. So here I've just selected a cut apart that I'm not going to use. It said Dreamer, and I wanted to go for that background, which is that beautiful purpley pink. And this is to create a space for my journaling, because looking at that now, unless I wrote kind of in between the leaves, there's not really a dedicated spot. So I just added some more glue, and I'll leave that to dry as well. I did think about machine stitching this, and I thought about trying it, but I was a bit nervous because if I went wrong, I would ruin it, and I didn't have another frame that was going to work for that purpose. So here you can see that I have machine stitched every edge except the top, and then I'm just going along and trimming out the plastic and then trimming out the thread. And I have left the plastic tall at the top, and that way I'll be able to, as you can see in a second, get my sequins in. Now, what I didn't think about when I was tipping them in was the plastic adhesive strip on the top of the sequins bag, so some sequins got stuck, and then I put too many sequins in, and then when I try to tip them back, they kind of went everywhere. So anyway, this is real life, people. Things are not perfect when we're creating on video. So here I've machine stitched and closed it up, and I just cut my threads off, and then I trimmed off the rest of that packaging. So I've been loving this way of making shaker pockets lately, and because I don't put any foam between the two layers of plastic packaging, it gives the appearance of a shaker pocket. It doesn't shake that well, like if you had foam to create that gap, but it gives the impression of a pocket that has been shaked or shaken. Sorry guys. It's been a long few days. I've had sick kids again and heaps of work, so I've been working day and night around the kids, and that's probably why I'm a bit tongue-tied. So here I'm just working on putting these flowers down now and deciding where to put the other elements. So I knew that I wanted the shaker pocket where it is, and then I wanted that little card that I'd cut apart and fussy cut. I wanted that in the middle. So I'm adding this little label. It says more of this, which I thought was perfect, and I like that it's a dark colour as well. It kind of goes with what she's wearing. And then I'm just fiddling around with the positioning of each of the flowers. I did use some glue to start with, but then I just decided, no, let's just get the double-sided tape in a position behind that floral where it's not going to be seen, so underneath where the photo will sit. And yeah, I'll do the same with the florals underneath as well. So it is coming to the end of winter now, which is great. It was not a good ski season first half of winter, and it's gotten better with some snow that we got a couple of weeks ago. I've been up night boarding. I snowboard, and Azaria, who is in this photo, she skis. Sam, my oldest son, is injured at the moment, and Brielle's only just learnt to ski. So Azaria and I have been going up on either Friday or Saturday nights to, go night skiing. And it's been so awesome to be able to do that with her. It's a really special time. She's a quality time child, and so it really does, it makes us closer, which is lovely. So I have to scrapbook all of my kids, and when I say have to, of course I do, but they let me know if they haven't had a page for a while, or they'll comment that, so-and-so, how come so-and-so's gotten that paper or those butterflies? Anyway, so it was time for me to scrapbook Azaria, and I ran by the choice of the paper and stuff by her, because all of my girls are quite interested in scrapbooking as well, which is lovely. My son isn't so much, but that's okay. So what you've missed, or what you haven't missed, what I haven't talked about, is I just used some Stampin' Up! Dimensionals to lift up some of the edges of the florals, particularly those ephemera ones that are solid cardstock. And then I've put my photo up on some foam, and now I want to lift up this little fussy cut piece as well. Sorry, that was my sister-in-law just sent me a message. So I had a lot of trouble gluing this down. I tried my liquid adhesive. I tried the American Crafts Red famous super sticky tape, and in the end I went with good old double-sided tape that I trimmed down to make it work. It was really difficult, I think, because of the acetate and the stitching, which made it so hard to get it to adhere. So in the end, double-sided tape for the win, and I'm happy with that. Here I'm just fiddling around with where I want things. I wanted to tuck this under. I think I had to trim it out a couple of times, and then I just as you can see, stuck it down. Now the light is a bit odd at the moment, and that's because you know how you get into the flow of creating and you don't want to stop? Well, I was fast losing light and I would have put the lights on in the room that I'm in, but they're not obviously for filming, they're just normal lights in the room, and that's why there's a bit of shadowing. But I was really into this and I didn't want to stop, and so I kept going for as long as I can. But soon when it comes to writing the journaling, the video will be better because it's the next day. So with this little notebook edge, I just love this little piece of ephemera. It says everyday life at its finest, and I just trimmed it down to make it work so I could just tuck it in there. I think because I wanted the words to be close to the edge of that shaker pocket. I didn't want it to stick up too much. So this is another piece of ephemera. It's a gorgeous, like hand-drawn floral in white and with that beautiful watercolor paper behind it. And then I tried to get some of these puffy stickers on, but all I could manage was the heart. So here I'm writing my journaling. I think I just talked about what a lovely day we had taking photos in Arrowtown on that day. I have already scrapbooked a photo of the two girls together, so this one will go into Azaria's album, and then I'll do one for Brielle as well. Yeah. So here I wanted to make my title from one of these or two of these words. I had a bit of trouble, as you can see. I've left this in as well, so you can see how I got to the decision to use the word that I used, which is carefree. I did think about using the word you because it sat perfectly underneath that fussy cut apart, but in the end it wasn't really what I was wanting to call the layout, so I just went with carefree because the whole day was pretty carefree. They loved having their photo taken and we didn't overthink getting the photos taken. So then I realised I should add some of these puffy florals into the mix. So then I've got 3 different types of florals behind my photo, and I'm just so happy with how this one turned out. The final touch is to add some really old Mr. Huey's ink splatters. I can't remember the name of the ink that I used, but it's probably not available anymore. Like, this would honestly be about probably 8 years old, pen ink. And that's my final layout. So thank you so much for watching. I'll have the link below to the Clique Kits store where you can go over and check out the latest kits and purchase them for yourself. I'll be back again next week with another project.